Hello and welcome if you're new to my channel, and if you're a subscriber, a warm welcome back. In this video, I'm going to be continuing premium core recommendations for the hierarchy of handbag series that I started a few weeks ago. I have a total of 16 brands. I've spoken about the first 8, and the second 8 I will talk about in this video. The first part, which I'm going to attach above, was very heavy on the Italian brands. So there were 4 Italian brands, 2 American, 1 British, 1 French. Whereas in this bunch of 8, there are actually 5 French brands. There are 2 Italian, 1 Spanish. What I'm going to do actually is bump one of the French ones up to super premium. It is more super premium brand than a premium core. But nonetheless, this is very heavy on the French brands. And the French brands, together with the other 2 Italian and the Spanish brand, pretty much dominate the luxury designer bag market when it comes to brands that are the trendsetters, the most well-known, the ones that everybody talks about or aspires to. I'm Anesu Sagonda, and I produce educational content geared towards people who are typically new to money or keen to explore alternate mid-lux or super brands that are a little under the radar but still heavily weighted on quality. For ease of understanding, I'm going to focus on just the 7 brands that I mentioned earlier in this video. But essentially what you will be able to do is group part 1 and part 2. Then you have the entire range of your premium core bags in terms of hierarchy. So starting from my first recommendation, Tom Ford, and working all the way up to the top brand number 1 in this video. My first brand, which is essentially number 7 in the hierarchy, is a French brand called Givenchy. And Givenchy is like the student who's very comfortably in the middle of the class. They do enough work to keep up with the star performers. They're very well known and liked by their peers. And from time to time, they'll produce a cracking piece of work or a bag. That's Givenchy to a T. They have the Antigona, which was first produced in 2010. It's a structured trapezoid bag, and it comes in 2 different finishes. There's the grain leather, which is matte in the look and feel. And then there's the other one, which is a shiny, scratch-resistant material, which is box leather. Comes in 4 different sizes. And then as a way of celebrating the Antigona's reign at the top of the helm for the last 10 years, last year in 2010, they introduced the Antigona Soft, which is a slouchy version of the Antigona. It has a very easy laid-back appeal to it. 2 straps on the side. Comes in 3 different sizes. And it's either a smooth calf's leather or it's canvas. Both the Antigona and the Antigona Soft are priced at $1,690. My next brand up, number 6, is my Spanish brand Balenciaga. And Balenciaga introduced in 2001 the City Bag. And the City Bag over the years has continued to this day to be their best-selling bag. You can also throw into their bags that have also done well the Veil and the Hourglass, but not to the same extent as the City Bag to warrant it being in the hierarchy as Balenciaga's best-selling bag. It's a bag that originally came in either black or brown, but over the years they've introduced it in a whole slew of colors. It's a fairly ample, roomy bag with 2 handles. It has a detachable strap, but it is a little on the heavy side from the studs and also the leather. But over the years, they've tweaked it slightly, but they've essentially kept the same aesthetic, but just changed the shape, the style, the colors, and just very subtle nuances. Priced at $1,690, same as Givenchy. It's a very modern, fashion-forward bag that's in keeping with the rest of what Balenciaga is. Incredibly popular with millennials, with your Gen Zs. They're behind some of the biggest trendy pieces that have set the tone and pace in the industry. Your chunky trainers, you have the puffer jackets, you also have the t-shirts with the big logo emblazoned all over them. So that's Balenciaga, the City Bag at number 6. My next brand up is an interesting one. It's a French brand called Louis Vuitton. And Louis Vuitton is owned by Louis Vuitton Moët Hennessy, which is the largest luxury group in the world. And you'll often hear of Louis Vuitton coming up, whether it's in the Big Five or the Holy Trinity of bags. These are groupings of bags that are typically the most revered when it comes to designer bags, designer brands that everybody's talking about, everybody wants, everyone aspires to, the bags that set the trend, the tone, the pace in the industry. Louis Vuitton is always in those groups. So the Big Five, which I've referred to in a number of videos, the first one was the brands loved by the rich, which I will attach above. And in the Big Five, you have Hermes, you have Louis Vuitton, you have Christian Dior, you have Gucci, you have Chanel. In the Trinity, the Holy Trinity, you have three brands. You have Chanel, you have Louis Vuitton, and you have Hermes. The Holy Trinity is three brands that are often referred to as the brands that hold their value. They are the best when it comes to investment bags. So you can buy them, and then when you're ready to sell them, you'll at the very least get your money back, or you'll get your money back plus an extra 50 or 100%, depending entirely on how well you've kept the bag, and also whether it is a special edition, limited edition. It has something interesting about it. Then the Big Five, let's remove Hermes out of that equation. Hermes is the brand at the very top end of the market. When it comes to quality, it comes to craftsmanship, they are exemplary. Their products are flawless. There's nothing you can fault about them except aesthetic if you don't like it. But in terms of the construction and the leather they use, it's the very best. But if we remove Hermes from the Big Five and keep the other four, so Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, and Gucci, Louis Vuitton and Gucci are two brands I'll talk about in this particular video. But the other two, Chanel and Christian Dior, are in the super premium, so I won't really refer to them. But those five brands pretty much dictate the pace, as I mentioned, that when somebody thinks of a designer bag that they like, that they aspire to buying, it's usually one of those five. They lead the pace. And why they lead the pace, and it's not just these five, I'd actually like to also include, so let's remove Hermes, as I mentioned. So the four remaining, including Chanel and Christian Dior, and then throw in all the brands that I will talk about in this video. They are the brands at the very top end of the market when it comes to luxury, and specifically handbags, as we're talking about. And so what happens with these bags is they turn over billions of dollars in revenue from the sales of their products. And their products are products that they create. They create these iconic products. And then the iconic products, they sell them at very high prices relative to the same products, but by other designers. So cheaper versions, they make them a lot more expensive. And then they throw in very slick, very strategic, very well thought out, smart marketing campaigns. So they have these iconic products, very high prices with slick marketing behind them, which then ensures that they sell very high volumes of these products to people who are aspirational. They're aspiring to being part of a certain lifestyle, to having arrived, to being cool, to being trendy, whatever it is, they aspire. And all that marketing makes them want to buy, and people then in turn buy these things. So this is what drives a lot of the sales from the products, that the brands that I'm talking about in this specific group. As part of the theme of my channel, buy better, buy less, I'm very much about move away from some of these well-known brands with very slick marketing campaigns, because their products are good. I cannot fault them. The quality is good, the craftsmanship. But you do have other brands, which I do talk about all the time, that produce bags that are even better quality than all the other brands except for Hermes. Brands such as Moina, there's Delvaux, there's Valextra, just to name a few. And I'll talk about these brands in videos to come, but these are brands that are actually better when you look at the Big Five, or all the brands I've mentioned in this video, for the quality, for the construction and the craftsmanship, but they just don't feel the need to market their products as aggressively. Some don't even market at all, and they feel that the people who appreciate, who want their products, are people who are after understated quality, and they're not after any hype or fuss or fanfare, but they just want a very well-made product, and they will pay the price for it. So going back specifically to Louis Vuitton has a whole raft of styles within the brands that have done within the brand that have done incredibly well for Louis Vuitton in its own right. So I've chosen 3. There are others, but just I've gone for 3, and you can choose any one of these 3 to put in your own individual hierarchy. But the first one is the Speedy. The Speedy was first produced in 1930. So it's one of the very old brands. Hermes was founded in 1853. So it was one of their newer ranges. So the Speedy is a very light, compact little bag. Comes with the 2 straps, and it also 2 handles, and it has a detachable strap. So it's very much a bag that is compact. It's light, easy to go. The other one is the Neverfull, and the Neverfull is a tote that is called Neverfull because it's never full. You can never fill it. It's very roomy, and again, it's very lightweight. And then the other one is a timeless structured bag called the Alma, and that's actually the brand, the range I'm going to put into the hierarchy. I like it because it's structured, it's timeless. It's a design you will see from other brands, very similar version of it from Balenciaga, the veil. You also have the bolide from Hermes, and it's a bag that works for men, particularly if it's a bigger size as a travel bag, and for women, whether you're young or old. It's a timeless, beautiful design, and that bag is priced at 1,850. My next brand up is Gucci, and Gucci is very much like Balenciaga in terms of being fashion forward, hip, trend setting brands. Gucci and Balenciaga pretty much head the pack when it comes to brands with significant online presence. With the Gen Zs, with the millennials, they're doing phenomenally well. So think of the puffer jackets. You also have them from Gucci, the logo emblazoned t-shirts, the chunky sneakers. They excel at them just as well as Balenciaga. But looking specifically at the bags, very similar to Louis Vuitton, there are a number of ranges that could work for the hierarchy. Depends entirely on what you like. Firstly, there is the bamboo top handle. The other one that could have worked is the marmont. Marmont comes in a number of different styles, so depending on what you like. But the one I'm going to go for is the Dionysus. The Dionysus is one of their new bags, introduced in 2015, and the creative director wanted a bag that would be a fusion of your old Gucci meets new Gucci. So he mixed a lot of the vintage flair with a lot of new modern ideas, and it's one of Gucci's chicest handbags. It's functional, it's non-fussy, and you can wear it to dress up an outfit beautifully. It comes in a whole slew of different colors and materials, so there's something for everyone. It's a top handle bag that comes with a strap, so you can either wear it over the shoulder or you can wear it crossbody, and it retails at 2,080 for the medium sized. My next brand in the hierarchy, number 3, is the other Italian brand. It's Fendi, and Fendi is the brand that was behind the first real it bag, which was the Baguette, created in 1997. And a few years later, it made its first appearance in Sex and the City when Carrie Bradshaw was seen carrying the bag, and it literally catapulted it into the limelight, and the rest is history. The other bag I could have also put into the hierarchy, which is one of their all-time best-selling bags, is the Peekaboo. It would have worked well, but I've gone for the Fendi Baguette purely because it was the first real it bag, and it's made a comeback in recent years, and they've revived it in a number of different sizes. It comes in 4 different sizes and also different materials. The F design, which does fantastically well, the F logo, was designed in 1965 by Karl Lagerfeld when he first joined the brand, and he wanted to build Fendi into a huge brand, very well known and respected for fur. So the FF stands for fun furs. But the black medium-sized version of the Baguette retails for 2,090. My next brand up, number 2, is French. It's Saint Laurent. Another school analogy whilst we're at it. Think of the geeky, nerdy girl who'd sit in the back with the thick rimmed glasses. And then fast forward 20 years later at the reunion, she turns up and she's looking drop dead gorgeous. That's Saint Laurent. Over the years, they've pulled out some crackers and produced some beautiful bags. There are a number of bags I could have chosen for the hierarchy. I've gone for one, but there are a couple of others I'd like to recommend in addition to my hierarchy entry. The first one is the Kate. It makes for a very nice but elegant, it's just a grown-up, elegant evening bag. The other one is the Lulu. The Lulu has the very soft, thick, padded walls. Structured bag that is great as an everyday bag. The smaller sizes make it work very well as an evening purse. It's just a fun bag that's very easy to dress up or to dress down. But my top one is Sac de Jour. And I like Sac de Jour for a number of reasons. A very simple but sophisticated work bag. It comes in grain leather and it was inspired by the Birkin. So it's a different version of the Birkin, but it still works very well. An open top version of the Birkin. And that retails for 2,140. My number one when it comes to premium core hierarchy of bags is Céline, a French brand, and in particular the box bag. The box bag to me is the most representative bag of Céline's style. It's a very simple, elegant, minimalist, understated brand that just lets the quality, the precision of the cut, the neatness of the stitching speak for itself. It's like that woman who walks into a room and she's just so poised and so confident. She's not adorned in a lot of jewels or clothes or anything, but just the poise with which she stands, the confidence. And in that simplicity is where all the beauty lies. That's a Céline box bag. It comes in box calfskin and it has the strap so you can wear it either crossbody, over the shoulder, a very simple, elegant clasp on the front. It's a beautiful bag. Eye-wateringly expensive relative. It's 2,950 for the medium size. But think of it as, for example, your Chanel, the classic flap, relative to the other bags, is very expensive. It's the most representative, the most classic, the most timeless, the most beautiful bag for Céline. It's a bag that I personally love, and of all the bags I've spoken about, if there's one I was to choose, I was to go for, it's number one. Yes, it's cliche, but it truly is a beautiful bag that just stands out and it marvels in its simplicity. It has no fuss around it. The quality of the construction, the very neat stitching, the material, that simplicity is what does it for this bag. But I've given you a fairly well-considered selection of bags. I took a lot of time to think through the various variables and which bags, which brands to group together and how to do it in the most productive manner. I'd love to get your thoughts in the comments, what you think, what are you considering? Is there something that is on your list to buy when it comes to luxury? Let me know in the comments down below. But otherwise, as always, do share, like and subscribe. I'd love to hear other people's opinions far and wide. Thank you for watching and stay safe.